My name is Maya Torres, and I'm 32 years old. 3 days after celebrating my mother's 60th birthday with my entire family, I opened my banking app during my morning coffee and felt my world shatter. My savings account balance read zero. Just 3 days before, it had shown $140,318. 8 years. 8 years of denying myself vacations, wearing the same clothes, driving my beat-up car, eating leftovers for lunch. 8 years of saying no to myself so I could finally say yes to my dream. A home of my own. Gone. Just gone. My hands started shaking so badly I nearly dropped my phone. I called the bank immediately, my voice cracking as I spoke to the customer service representative. She confirmed what I couldn't process, what my brain simply refused to accept. The transfer had been authorized by Patricia Torres, my mother, the co-owner of my account. When I confronted her, she didn't even try to hide it. She actually laughed. Can you believe that? She laughed and said, "Maya, sweetheart, we needed it more than you do. You have a stable career. You'll make it back. Your brother, though, he needs help right now." I felt something crack inside me. Not break exactly, more like unlock. Like a door I'd kept sealed my entire life suddenly swung open, and I could finally see what was on the other side. My voice came out steady, eerily calm when I replied, "Then you won't mind what happens next." But wait, before I tell you what happened when those police officers knocked on that door, please subscribe and like this video and listen to my story till the end, and let me know which city you're listening from. That way I can see how far my story has traveled. Because what I'm about to share, it's not just my story. It's the story of everyone who's ever been taken advantage of by the people who were supposed to protect them. To understand why I made the choices I made, you need to know where this all began. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, in what everyone called a typical middle-class family. My mother, Patricia Torres, worked as an office manager at a dental practice for 30 years before retiring. My father passed away when I was 19, leaving Mom to raise me and my younger brother alone. Well, mostly alone, because I helped. Oh, God, did I help. From the moment I could understand words, one phrase was drilled into my head. Family comes first. It wasn't just something we said, it was like the air we breathed, you know? Every decision, every sacrifice, every guilty phone call started and ended with those three words. Family comes first. My younger brother, Tyler, is 4 years younger than me. And somewhere along the way, my mother decided he was the one worth investing in. She never said it directly, but I felt it in every decision, every conversation, every moment of praise that went his way, while my accomplishments were met with, "That's nice, dear." "Boys need more support," she'd say, like it was gospel truth. "Tyler has so much potential. He just needs the right opportunities. He just needs someone to believe in him." Me? I learned my role early. I was the responsible one, the self-sufficient one, the one who got scholarships to college, who worked 2 part-time jobs starting at 16, who never asked for anything because I knew the answer before I even opened my mouth. When I was 17, my mother sat me down at our kitchen table. I remember the moment so clearly, the afternoon light coming through the window, the smell of coffee, her serious expression. "Maya, honey, I want to add my name to your bank account just as a safety measure. You know, in case something happens to you, I can access the funds, help you out if there's an emergency." It made sense. She was my mother. She'd always taken care of me, right? Oh, I remember feeling so loved, so protected, like she was wrapping another safety net around me. I never questioned it, not once, not even when I turned 25, 28, 30. Her name stayed on that account for 15 years. Because why would I remove it? She was my mother. She would never hurt me. She would never... Oh, God, I was so naive. Looking back now, I can see how carefully she laid the groundwork. Every family first lecture, every time she praised me for being so easy, every subtle reminder that my needs came second to Tyler's dreams, it was all preparation. She was building the perfect victim, someone so trained to give that they'd never think to protect themselves. Let me show you the numbers. I kept track of everything. It's what I do. I'm a data analyst. Numbers don't lie. People do. In 2017, when I was 25 and had just gotten promoted to senior analyst at TechCore, a software company in downtown Portland, my mother called. The furnace had broken down. Winter was coming. They couldn't afford repairs. Could I help? I transferred $12,000, just like that. Between 2018 and 2021, Tyler's college tuition kept falling short. Scholarships didn't cover enough, financial aid wasn't sufficient. Mom would call crying, weeping into the phone about how Tyler would have to drop out, how all his potential would be wasted. So I paid $32,000 in tuition gaps over 3 years. In 2020, Mom needed surgery for her hip, a procedure insurance only partially covered. She called me from the hospital, her voice weak and scared, and asked if I could help with the medical bills. Another $15,000. In 2022, Tyler had the opportunity of a lifetime. A friend wanted to start a digital marketing agency, and Tyler would be a partner. He just needed startup capital, just $10,000. He'd pay me back within 6 months, he promised. Haha, I never saw a penny of it. The business folded in 4 months. And then there were all the smaller things: car repairs, insurance premiums, Christmas gifts they couldn't afford, emergency vet bills for Mom's dog, Tyler's security deposit for his apartment, another $28,000 scattered across dozens of transactions. Total, $97,000. $97,000 over 10 years. I kept track of everything in a spreadsheet, color-coded by category, organized by date, not because I expected to be paid back, but because keeping records calms me. Data is truth. People can't manipulate you the way people can. You know what I never received? Not once in all those years. A thank you card, a genuine acknowledgement, even basic gratitude. What I got was, "You make good money, Maya. You don't have a family to support. This is what we do. Family helps family." What I got was the privilege of being treated like an ATM with a mother's phone number programmed in. But despite giving away nearly $100,000, I had a dream, a quiet, persistent dream that kept me going through every overtime shift, every declined vacation, every time I talked myself out of buying something nice for myself. I wanted a home. Not a mansion, not some fancy showplace, just a modest home with a backyard where I could plant a garden, a kitchen where I could bake cookies on Sunday mornings, a living room where I could host my friends, walls that belonged to me and me alone. I started saving seriously at 24, right after my first big promotion. I set up automatic transfers to a high-yield savings account. I lived in a small apartment, drove my dad's old Toyota that was falling apart, made coffee at home, packed my lunches, said no to girls' trips and concerts and nice dinner out. My goal was $150,000, enough for a 20% down payment on a $750,000 home in a decent Portland neighborhood. After 8 years of discipline, sacrifice, and saying no to myself over and over and over again, I had $140,318. I was so close, so close. I could almost taste it. I'd already started looking at houses. I'd toured 5 properties. The last one made my heart sing, a craftsman-style home with a big front porch, original hardwood floors, and a backyard that got full sun, perfect for the garden I'd been dreaming about for years. The asking price was $728,000. I was planning to make an offer the week after Mom's birthday party. Here's the thing that haunts me. 2 years before everything fell apart, I almost removed my mother from that account. I was updating my financial information after getting another promotion, and the bank representative asked if I wanted to change the co-owner status. I hesitated, my finger hovering over the form. Then I called my mother to tell her what I was considering. Her voice turned to ice. "You don't trust your own mother? After everything I've done for you? After I raised you alone after your father died?" I felt so guilty, so ashamed of myself for even thinking such a thing. I apologized profusely and left her name on the account. That decision cost me everything. My mother's 60th birthday party was held on a Saturday in early June at her house in Southeast Portland. About 30 people crammed into her living room and backyard. Aunts, uncles, cousins I hadn't seen in years, old family friends, neighbors who'd known us since I was a kid. The decorations were elaborate, too elaborate for someone who'd been asking me for money just 3 months before. The food was catered, paid for, I later discovered, with a loan Tyler had taken from somewhere. Everyone was dressed up, smiling, playing their parts in this performance of a happy, functional family. Mom gave this long speech about gratitude and family and legacy. Everyone clapped. Tyler stood beside her with this proud smile, and she introduced him to everyone as our rising entrepreneur. Nobody mentioned that his last 4 business ventures had failed. Nobody mentioned that I'd funded 3 of them. Of course not. Why would they? I sat in the corner with a glass of wine, watching the whole performance like I was sitting in a theater watching a play. A tragedy, probably. The kind where you can see the disaster coming, but the characters are too blind to save themselves. Several relatives approached me with the same tired questions. When are you settling down? Still renting? Don't you want to buy a house? I smiled and nodded and deflected, like I always did, like I'd been trained to do. But I noticed something. Throughout the party, Mom and Tyler kept huddling together in corners, whispering, glancing at me, then looking away quickly when I caught them staring. Something was happening, something I wasn't supposed to know about. My Aunt Rosa, my mother's older sister, she's 67, pulled me aside near the end of the party. She's the only member of my extended family who'd ever acknowledged that I gave too much. She squeezed my hand hard and looked me dead in the eyes. "Maya, sweetheart, you've given enough. Be careful." I laughed it off, nervous. "Careful of what, Aunt Rosa?" She didn't answer. She just looked at me with this expression I couldn't quite read. Pity, maybe? Or warning? Or both? 3 days later, I understood exactly what she meant. It was a Tuesday morning. I was at my desk at TechCore, reviewing data models for our quarterly presentation, when my phone buzzed with an email notification. The subject line read, "Transaction Confirmation, Pacific Northwest Bank." I assumed it was spam. Phishing attempts mimicking bank emails were common enough in my line of work. I was about to delete it when something made me pause. Call it instinct. Call it paranoia. Call it whatever you want. I opened my banking app. Savings account. Balance, $0.00. I stared at my phone screen for what felt like an hour, but was probably only 30 seconds. My brain couldn't process it, couldn't make it make sense. This had to be a mistake, a glitch in the app, a display error, something, anything but what it actually was. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely dial the bank's customer service number. The representative was polite, professional, and utterly, completely useless. "Ma'am, I can confirm that a transfer of $140,318 was processed yesterday at 3:47 a.m. from your savings account to an external account. The transaction was authorized by the co-owner of the account, Ms. Patricia Torres." That's my mother. "Yes, ma'am. As a joint account holder, she has full authorization to—" I didn't approve this transfer. My voice came out strangled. I didn't know about it. A pause. "Ma'am, our records show the transaction was confirmed via electronic signature. Would you like me to email you the confirmation documentation?" "Yes, please." I hung up and sat frozen at my desk. 8 years. 8 years of discipline and sacrifice and dreaming transferred away in a single click by the woman who gave birth to me, the woman who was supposed to protect me, the woman I trusted with everything. The email arrived 3 minutes later. I opened the attachment with trembling fingers and saw my name on the electronic signature line. My name. My authorization. Except I'd never signed anything. I'd never authorized anything. My mother hadn't just stolen my money, she had forged my identity to do it. I called her from the parking garage of my office building. I needed privacy. I needed to hear her voice when she explained. I needed to give her a chance to tell me this was all some horrible misunderstanding. She answered on the second ring, her voice bright and cheerful. "Maya, I was wondering when you'd call." No surprise, no guilt, no hesitation. Just calm acknowledgement, like we were discussing weekend plans. "Mom," my voice broke. "The money, my savings, all of it." "Oh, yes, sweetheart, I transferred it. Tyler was in trouble." "What?" I couldn't breathe. "What do you mean you transferred it?" She sighed, that same exasperated sigh she'd used my entire life when she thought I was being difficult. "Tyler's investment deal fell through, Maya. He owed creditors $115,000. They were threatening legal action. I had to help him. He's my mother." "With my money?" "It's family money," she corrected, like she was explaining something simple to a child. "Used most of it to pay down his debt, and the rest went toward a down payment on a nice condo for him. A fresh start. He deserves that." I was crying now, tears streaming down my face in the dim parking garage. That was everything I had. 8 years of saving. I was going to buy a house. "Ah, sweetheart, you'll bounce back. You have a great job. You're smart. You can save again. Tyler doesn't have your advantages. He needs support." I heard Tyler's voice in the background, loud and entitled. "Tell her it's for the family. She'll get over it." "Maya," Mom's tone shifted to that authoritative voice she expected obedience. "I raised you for 18 years, fed you, clothed you, put a roof over your head. This is what family does. We sacrifice for each other. Tyler needed the money more than you did. That's just the reality." Something cold and crystalline formed in my chest, replacing the tears. "You forged my signature, Mom." Silence. "On the electronic authorization, I never signed anything. The bank has documentation with my name on it that I never approved." More silence. Then, quietly, "You're overreacting." "Am I?" My voice was steady now, dead calm. "Because from where I'm sitting, this looks like identity theft and bank fraud. Don't be dramatic, Maya. It's family." "I'm done." I hung up. That night, I called James Park. James and I had been friends since college, met in an economics seminar our sophomore year, and stayed close through graduations, career changes, relationships, breakups, all of it. He was now a lawyer specializing in financial crimes, working at a reputable firm downtown. "Maya, haha, it's been forever. How are you?" I told him everything. The account, the transfer, the forged signature, the phone call with my mother. When I finished, there was a long, heavy pause. "Maya, this is serious, like potential felony charges serious." "What do you mean?" "Your mother being a co-owner complicates things legally, but it doesn't give her the right to forge your electronic signature on authorization documents. If she created a false signature to make the transfer appear legitimate, that's forgery. Combined with the unauthorized nature of the transfer, we're potentially looking at bank fraud and identity theft charges." My stomach dropped. God, I don't want to send my mother in prison. "I understand, but you need to know your options." His voice was gentle but firm. "Here's what matters immediately. Pacific Northwest Bank has a 72-hour window for disputing suspicious transactions. After that, the transfer gets locked into their system as confirmed, and recovering the funds becomes exponentially harder." I checked the timestamp on my phone. The transfer had been processed at 3:47 a.m. Tuesday morning. It was now Tuesday evening. I have less than 48 hours. Yes. And, Maya, he paused. You mentioned an email with your electronic signature. Do you still have it? Yes. Forward it to me, and if you know anyone who specializes in digital forensics, have them analyze the metadata. If that signature was created from a different device than yours, that's concrete evidence of forgery. I did know someone. Sarah Chen was a senior cybersecurity analyst at TechCore. We'd collaborated on several data protection projects, and I trusted her skills completely. More importantly, I trusted her discretion. Wednesday morning, I caught Sarah before our team meeting. Sarah, I need a favor, a personal one. She took one look at my face, I hadn't slept and it showed, and immediately nodded. What's going on? I forwarded her the bank's confirmation email. Can you analyze the metadata? Tell me where this electronic signature originated. It took her less than an hour. When she called me into her office, her expression was serious. Maya, she pulled up her analysis on the screen. This signature wasn't generated from any of your registered devices. The metadata shows it was created on a computer with a completely different IP address and device fingerprint. Can you tell whose computer? The IP address traces back to a residential location in southeast Portland. Here's the address. She showed me the screen. It was my mother's house. There's more, Sarah continued, her voice careful. The timestamp on the signature creation is 3:47 a.m. Monday morning. Were you awake at 3:47 a.m. on Monday? No, I was asleep. Then someone accessed your banking portal in the middle of the night and created this signature while you were unconscious. Maya, she turned to face me directly. This is textbook identity theft. Whoever did this forged your digital identity to authorize a transaction you never approved. I sat in her small office, holding the printed forensic report, feeling its weight. Not just the physical weight of paper, but the weight of what it represented. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. This wasn't just family drama. This was a crime, a prosecutable, go-to-prison type of crime. I'm going to need this documented officially, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. Can you write a formal report? Sarah nodded. I'll have it to you by the end of the day. And, Maya, I'm so sorry this happened to you. I had 40 hours left before the 72-hour window closed. That Wednesday night, I sat alone in my apartment, surrounded by evidence. On my laptop, the spreadsheet showing $97,000 I'd given my family over 10 years. On my coffee table, Sarah's forensic report proving the signature was forged. On my phone, 23 missed calls from my mother. I called her back. Oh, thank God, Maya. Mom's voice was breathless, panicked. I've been trying to reach you all day. Sweetheart, you need to calm down and listen. Mom, I need you and Tyler to return the money within 24 hours. Silence. All of it, $140,318, back in my account by tomorrow night, Thursday at 7 p.m. If not, I'm filing a police report for identity theft and bank fraud. Maya. My mother's voice cracked into a sob, those manipulative tears I'd heard 1,000 times before. You can't do that to your own mother. I raised you. I sacrificed everything for you. How can you be so ungrateful? You forged my signature. You stole my identity. This isn't a family disagreement. This is a crime. It's not stealing if it's family. That money, you were going to waste it on a house when your brother needs it to build his future. I made a judgment call as your mother. And now I'm making a judgment call as an adult whose identity was stolen. 24 hours, Mom. Maya, please. She was weeping now, ugly crying that would have broken me a week ago. Think about what you're doing. You'll destroy this family. Your mother could go to jail. Is that what you want? To ruin us? I thought about Aunt Rosa's warning. I thought about 8 years of discipline. I thought about every time I'd been told my dreams didn't matter as much as Tyler's needs. I'm not destroying anything, Mom. I'm protecting what's mine. For the first time in my life, I'm choosing myself. I hung up. 24 hours passed. no money was returned, no apology came, no acknowledgement of wrongdoing. I opened my laptop and started typing a police report. Thursday, 9:30 a.m., I sat in the Portland Police Bureau's Financial Crimes Unit. Detective Linda Morrison sat across from me, a woman in her mid-40s with sharp eyes and a nonsense expression. On the desk between us, Sarah's forensic report, my bank statements, the spreadsheet documenting 10 years of family support, and the fraudulent confirmation email. Detective Morrison reviewed each document methodically, asking precise questions. When she finished, she looked up at me. "Miss Torres, based on what you've presented, this appears to meet the criteria for identity theft under Oregon Revised Statute 165.800 and potentially federal bank fraud under 18 U.S.C. Section 1344. The forged electronic signature is particularly damning evidence." What happens now? We open an official investigation. I'll coordinate with Pacific Northwest Bank's fraud department. They'll need to see this forensic analysis. She handed me a form. "This is your formal identity theft report. Your case number is 2024 PDX 09167. You'll need this for the bank's dispute process." I signed where indicated, my signature, ironically, legitimate this time. "Miss Torres," Detective Morrison's voice softened slightly, "I see a lot of financial crimes in this job. Family cases are always the most difficult. Are you prepared for where this might lead?" My mother made her choice. Now she has to face the consequences. She nodded approvingly. "We'll be in touch. One more thing." She pulled up something on her computer. "When we ran your information, something flagged in our system. There's a personal loan opened in your name 6 months ago. Were you aware of this?" I felt the blood drain from my face. "No, I never applied for any loan." Detective Morrison made a note. "Then we may be looking at multiple counts of identity theft. I'll add this to the investigation." The family assault began within hours. My phone exploded. Text messages, voicemails, emails, all from family members who suddenly cared very much about my well-being. "Mom, how could you do this to your own mother? I'm having chest pains. Do you want me to have a heart attack?" "Tyler, you're dead to me. Hope you're happy, you selfish bitch." My cousin Jennifer, who I hadn't spoken to in 3 years. "Your mother is crying. How can you be so heartless?" "Uncle Marco, this is not how family handles things. Call me immediately." "Aunt Patricia, your mother dedicated her life to raising you, and this is how you repay her?" Message after message after message, all saying the same thing in different words. How dare you protect yourself? How dare you demand accountability? How dare you refuse to be victimized quietly? Only one message was different, from Aunt Rosa. "I support you completely. Stay strong, mija. Don't let them break you." I saved that one. On Friday, exactly a week after Mom's birthday party, I saw the Instagram post. Tyler had created a whole event announcement. The photo showed a sleek, modern condo with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of the Portland skyline. The caption read, "Housewarming party. Come celebrate my new place in the Pearl District. Saturday, June 15th, 7 p.m. Can't wait to show you all what hard work and dedication can achieve. DM for address. Hashtag new beginnings. Hashtag dreams come true. Hashtag hard work pays off." Hard work, dedication, dreams come true. I stared at my phone screen, rage building in my chest like a physical thing. My brother was throwing a party to celebrate an apartment purchased with my stolen money, with money I'd earned through actual hard work, money I'd saved through actual dedication, money that was supposed to make my actual dreams come true. The post had 67 likes and 23 comments already. "So proud of you, bro. You deserve this. Always knew you'd make it." My mother had commented, "So proud of my baby boy." I noticed I wasn't invited. Of course I wasn't. But I also noticed the party was in 2 days, on Saturday. I noticed the address was visible in the comments to people asking for directions. I noticed 52 people had already RSVP'd yes in the comments. An idea formed. A terrible, beautiful, necessary idea. I made a call. 5 days after I filed the police report, I received a call from Pacific Northwest Bank's Fraud Investigation Department. Ms. Torres, this is David Kim from our fraud resolution team. I'm calling regarding case number FRD 2024-08834. I straightened in my chair, heart pounding. Yes? We've completed our preliminary investigation into the disputed transaction on your account. Our internal analysis, combined with the forensic report provided by the Portland Police Bureau, confirms that the electronic signature authorizing the June 4th transfer was not generated from any device registered to your banking profile. I exhaled shakily. So you're confirming it was fraudulent? We're confirming the transaction authorization was created without your knowledge or consent using forged credentials. Under our terms of service and federal banking regulations, this constitutes an unauthorized transaction. We've frozen the relevant accounts pending criminal investigation, and we've forwarded our findings to Detective Morrison. What about my money? Once the criminal investigation reaches a certain threshold, which, given the evidence, should be very soon, we'll begin the process of reversing the fraudulent transaction. You should expect full restitution of $140,318 within 30 to 60 days. I thanked him and immediately called Detective Morrison. The bank confirmed the fraud. What's next? Next, she said, her voice steady, we execute an arrest warrant. Do you have a preference on timing? I thought about that Instagram post, about 52 people gathering to celebrate my brother's success. Success built on my stolen savings, my forged identity, my shattered dreams. Detective Morrison, I said slowly, I have a suggestion. Saturday, June 15th, 2024, 6:47 p.m. Tyler's new condo in the Pearl District was everything the Instagram photos had promised. The space was gorgeous, all exposed brick and modern finishes, with massive windows showcasing the city lights beginning to twinkle as dusk settled. About 50 guests filled the space, drinking craft cocktails, admiring the view, congratulating Tyler on his success. His college friends clustered near the kitchen island. Extended family members exclaimed over the finishes. Co-workers from his latest failed startup attempt mingled near the windows. My mother held court in the center of the living room, beaming. I've always believed in investing in family, she announced to a group of relatives. When Tyler came to me with this opportunity, I knew I had to help him. That's what mothers do. We lift our children up. Murmurs of approval rippled through the group, nods of agreement. You're such a good mother, Patricia. Mom circulated with a tray of fancy appetizers, glowing with pride. Isn't this place incredible? Tyler has worked so hard for this. We're just so proud of him. Tyler himself stood near those floor-to-ceiling windows, accepting congratulations from his former roommates. Yeah, man, it took some strategic planning and family support, but I finally made it happen. Location is everything in real estate, you know? Uncle Marco, who'd flown in from Seattle specifically for this party, clapped Tyler on the back. "Ha, your mother says you're quite the businessman. Impressive, son. Real impressive." Nobody mentioned me. Nobody wondered where I was. Nobody questioned where an entrepreneur with multiple failed ventures suddenly found the resources for a $450,000 condo in one of Portland's most expensive neighborhoods. Well, almost nobody. Aunt Rosa stood near the kitchen, watching Mom's performance with an expression I knew well, skepticism mixed with sadness. She checked her watch, 6:54 p.m. At 6:59 p.m., Aunt Rosa made her move. She intercepted Tyler as he headed toward the bathroom, cornering him in the hallway where the acoustics carried every word to at least 15 nearby guests. "Tyler, sweetheart," her voice was pleasant but loud enough to carry. "This condo is absolutely beautiful. What did it cost, if you don't mind me asking?" Tyler's smile flickered. Around $450,000? Got a great deal, actually." Wow, and where did you find the money for the down payment? Last I heard, you were having some financial difficulties with your business ventures. Several heads turned. The cheerful party chatter began to dim. Mom helped out, Tyler said carefully, his face flushing. You know, family support. Mm-hmm. Aunt Rosa nodded slowly. And did Maya contribute anything? Because I spoke to her recently and she mentioned something interesting about a bank transfer. $140,000, I believe. Tyler went pale. What? No, Maya has nothing to do with this. Really? Aunt Rosa's voice carried across the now quiet room. Because she told me someone stole her entire life savings, someone who had access to her bank account, someone who forged her signature at 3 in the morning. The room had gone completely silent now. Every conversation stopped. Every eye turned toward them. Mom pushed through the crowd, her face red. Rosa, this is not the time or place. Isn't it? Aunt Rosa turned to face her sister. Patricia, where did the money for this condo come from? The truth, please. This is family business, Mom hissed. None of your... Did you take money from Maya's savings account without her consent? The doorbell rang. The sound cut through the tension like a knife. Mom's face went white. Tyler froze, his cocktail glass halfway to his mouth. Uncle Marco answered the door. 2 uniformed Portland police officers stood in the hallway, their expressions professional and grave. Behind them, in plain clothes, was Detective Morrison. We're looking for Patricia Torres. The room erupted in confused murmurs. Mom rushed toward the door, her voice shrill. This is a private party. You can't just... Ma'am, please step aside. Detective Morrison holed up her badge. Ms. Patricia Torres, you're arrested for bank fraud, identity theft, and forgery under Oregon state law and federal statutes. You have the right to silence. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. This is ridiculous, Mom's voice cracked. Maya is lying. She's mentally unstable. She's making up stories because she's jealous of her brother. Ma'am, we have forensic evidence confirming that an electronic signature was forged from your home computer at 3:47 a.m. on June 3rd, authorizing a transfer of $140,318 from your daughter's savings account without her knowledge or consent. Detective Morrison's voice remained calm and professional. We also have evidence of a fraudulent $22,000 loan opened in your daughter's name 6 months ago using your IP address. The Miranda rights continued as one officer guided Mom's hands behind her. The click of handcuffs echoed through the silent condo. It was the only sound anyone made. No, no, no! Mom started sobbing, ugly crying that might have moved me once upon a time. Tyler, please, I'm her mother. This is a mistake. Maya, tell them this is a mistake. Tyler stood frozen, his mouth hanging open, his expensive cocktail forgotten in his hand. Uncle Marco stepped back from Mom like she'd become radioactive. Jesus Christ, Patricia, what did you do?
As the officers led Mom toward the door, she spoke quietly, but in the shocked silence, everyone heard, "You should have returned the money, Patricia. Maya gave you a chance." The door closed behind them with a definitive click. 52 witnesses stood in absolute, devastating silence. Then someone whispered, "She stole from her own daughter." Detective Morrison remained after the officers left with Mom. She addressed the stunned room with professional calm. For those who are wondering, Miss Patricia Torres has been charged with stealing $140,318 from her daughter's savings account and forging her digital identity to authorize the transfer. Additionally, a fraudulent loan of $22,000 was opened in the victim's name without her knowledge or consent. She gestured around the room. The down payment for this condominium came from those stolen funds. Uncle Marco turned to Tyler, his face purple with rage. "Is this true? This entire place was bought with Maya's money?" I didn't," Tyler stammered, shaking.
Mom said Maya agreed. She said Maya wanted to help. She filed a police report, Tyler. Aunt Rosa's voice was sharp as glass. Does that sound like someone who agreed? A woman I didn't recognize, probably one of Tyler's coworkers, set down her glass with a sharp clink. Wait, so this whole party, we're celebrating a condo bought with his sister's stolen life savings? Stolen by his mother, another guest added, disgust dripping from every word. One by one, people began moving toward the door. Tyler's college friend shook his head as he passed. Dude, I thought I knew you. This is seriously messed up. Within 20 minutes, 30 guests had left. Those who remained whispered in small clusters, casting horrified looks at Tyler like he was something diseased. I arrived at 7:52 p.m., after the police had taken Mom away. The condo door was still open. Nobody had thought to close it. I walked through that doorway into a scene of complete devastation. Half-empty cocktail glasses abandoned on every surface, catering trays untouched, congratulations balloons drifting sadly near the ceiling. Maybe 20 people remained, all staring at me like I was a ghost. Uncle Marco saw me first. His face crumpled. Maya. Oh, Maya, I had no idea. Nobody knew. I know, I said quietly. Tyler finally found his voice. Maya, you called the cops on Mom. You had her arrested at my party, in front of everyone. I looked at him directly, really looked at him. You threw a party to celebrate success bought with my stolen money, Tyler. What did you expect me to do? Smile and let it happen? But she's our mother. And I'm your sister. The sister whose life savings you knew were stolen. You knew, Tyler. You knew where that money came from and you posted about it on Instagram. You invited 52 people to celebrate. So I made sure those 52 people knew the truth. Aunt Rosa approached me, squeezing my hand hard. Good, she whispered. Good. The remaining guests left quickly after that, mumbled goodbyes, avoiding eye contact. Within another 15 minutes, only family remained. Me, Tyler, Aunt Rosa, Uncle Marco, and Tyler's girlfriend, who I'd never met before tonight. The condo that had gleamed with celebration an hour ago now felt like a tomb, cold, empty. The twilight through those massive windows no longer looked beautiful. It looked harsh. Tyler slumped in a chair by the window, staring at nothing. His dream condo, his celebration, his success story. All of it evaporated in less than 2 hours. Uncle Marco approached me, his eyes red. Maya, I owe you an apology. When your mother called to invite me to this party, she told me you were making false accusations. She said you were having mental problems. She was very convincing. She's been convincing my whole life, I said quietly. Not anymore, Uncle Marco's voice was granite. I'm done with Patricia, completely done. I pulled a folder from my bag, the same folder I'd been carrying for 3 weeks. Inside, the spreadsheet documenting $97,000 in family support over 10 years, Sarah's forensic report, a copy of the police report, bank statements showing both fraudulent transactions. Uncle Marco, I know you traveled from Seattle for this trip. I'm sorry your trip was wasted, but I thought you should see the truth. I handed him the folder. He opened it slowly, scanning the documents. His face shifted from shock to disgust to something that looked like grief. My God, Maya, all this time, all this money, and she still stole everything I had left, I finished for him. Tyler finally spoke, his voice small. Maya, you have to understand. Mom said you were okay with it. She said Maya wanted to help me get back on my feet. I was asleep when she forged my signature at 3:47 in the morning, Tyler. I found out about the transfer 3 days later when my account showed zero. Zero. I met his eyes. You knew where that money came from. Maybe not at first, but after I filed the report, Tyler, you knew. And you threw this party anyway. He had no response to that. What could he say? 3 weeks after the arrest at Tyler's housewarming party, Mom's case went before the district attorney. James kept me informed throughout the process, explaining each development. They're charging her with 3 counts, he told me over coffee one morning. Bank fraud under Federal Statute 18 U.S.C. 1344, identity theft under 18 U.S.C. 1028, and forgery under Oregon state law. The federal charges alone carry a maximum of 30 years. My stomach dropped. 30 years? James, I don't want her to spend 30 years in prison. That wasn't the point of... That's the maximum, Maya. Given her age, clean record, and the family context, the DA is offering a plea deal: 18 months probation, 300 hours of community service, and full restitution of both the stolen savings and that fraudulent loan. She'd avoid prison time entirely if she accepts. I exhaled slowly. And the loan? The bank has already flagged it as fraudulent. It'll be removed from your credit report within 60 days. You won't owe a penny. In late July, Mom accepted the plea deal. I wasn't present for the hearing. James advised that my attendance might complicate things emotionally for everyone involved, but he texted me afterward. It's done. She pleaded guilty. Restitution order signed. You should see the money within 2 weeks. 1 week later, $140,318 appeared in my new bank account. My new account, with my name only. No co-owners, no exceptions, no chances for history to repeat itself. The money felt different this time. Heavier, like it carried the weight of everything that had happened. I'd earned it twice, once through years of discipline and sacrifice, and again through the hardest fight of my life. But the numbers were real, the balance was restored, and it was mine. Finally, completely mine. I called Pacific Northwest Bank to officially close my old account. "Are you sure, Miss Torres?" the representative asked. "This account has been open since you were 17. "I'm sure. That account was never really mine anyway." "I understand. Is there anything else I can help you with today?" I thought about it. "Yes, I'd like information about your mortgage pre-approval process." The social consequences fell like dominoes, each one triggering the next in a cascade of ruin. Tyler was forced to sell the Pearl District condo within 3 months. The market had cooled, buyers were hesitant, and word had spread through Portland's real estate community. That's the guy who celebrated buying a condo with his sister's stolen money. He sold at a $47,000 loss, debt he couldn't escape because he couldn't earn. His entrepreneurial reputation, such as it was, completely collapsed. Doors closed, emails went unanswered. The few professional contacts he'd maintained quietly distanced themselves. Mom retreated into complete isolation. Her church friends stopped calling. Her book club disbanded without her. Her neighborhood coffee group found reasons to meet elsewhere. Everyone had heard. Everyone knew. The woman who'd spent decades building a reputation as a devoted mother had been exposed as a thief who'd stolen from her own daughter. Uncle Marco kept his word with brutal finality. He blocked Mom on every platform, declined every call, ignored every email. When Mom tried to reach out through other family members, he sent one text: "I have nothing to say to thieves." The extended family fractured along predictable lines. 15 relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, formally cut ties with Mom and Tyler. Some sent private messages of support, others simply went silent, unwilling to take sides, but also unwilling to defend the undefensible. Aunt Rosa told me about a confrontation at a family funeral 4 months later. "Your mother tried to attend. Your Uncle Marco physically blocked the door and told her she wasn't welcome. It was the first time I've ever seen Patricia cry without it being for manipulation. Real tears, real grief." I felt nothing when she told me. No satisfaction, no vindication, just a quiet acknowledgement that actions have consequences, and some consequences can't be undone. "Does it feel like enough?" Aunt Rosa asked me gently. "It feels like reality. That's all I ever wanted. Just reality, truth, accountability." Something unexpected happened in the months after the arrest. I started receiving messages from strangers. Sarah had shared my story, anonymized for privacy, in an online support group for financial abuse survivors. The response was overwhelming. "This happened to me too. My father took out credit cards in my name. Reading your story gave me the courage to report it. I've been paying my sister's debts for 15 years. I thought I was crazy for feeling angry. Thank you for showing me I'm not alone." My mother told me family doesn't keep score when she asked me to co-sign her car loan. Now I'm $60,000 in debt and she won't answer my calls. How did you find the strength? I responded to every single message. Some people needed resources, lawyer referrals, fraud reporting procedures, credit repair guidance. Others just needed to know someone understood, that they weren't crazy, that their anger was justified, that choosing themselves wasn't selfish. At TechCore, word spread among my colleagues. People I'd barely spoken to stopped by my desk with quiet words of encouragement. My manager, Rebecca, called me into her office one afternoon. "Maya, I heard about what happened with your family. What you did, standing up like that, filing charges against your own mother, that took incredible courage. Most people would have just let it go to keep the peace." "I couldn't," I said simply. "Not this time." "Well, I admire the hell out of you for it, and if you ever need time off for court appearances, therapy appointments, or just to breathe, it's yours. No questions asked." Aunt Rosa became my anchor. Every Sunday, without fail, she'd come over with wine and homemade tamales, and a listening ear. We'd sit on my tiny apartment balcony and talk about everything and nothing. "You know," she told me once, her eyes distant with memory, "your grandmother did something similar to me 40 years ago, stole $6,800 from a savings account we shared. I never reported it, never even confronted her. I just absorbed it, kept quiet, kept the peace." She looked at me with shining eyes. "Oh, Maya, I'm so proud of you for having the courage I didn't have." In October, 3 months after the arrest, a handwritten letter arrived at my apartment. The return address was Mom's house. The handwriting was hers. I opened it at my kitchen table, already steeling myself. "Dear Maya, your mother and I have had time to reflect on everything that happened. I want you to know that I'm sorry if you felt hurt by my decisions. Family should support each other, and I understand now that things didn't go the way you hoped. I only wanted to help Tyler. He's struggled so much, and as his mother, I felt it was my duty to give him a chance. Sometimes mothers have to make difficult choices that not everyone understands in the moment. I'm asking you, as your mother, to consider forgiveness. Holding on to anger only hurts you. The Bible teaches us to forgive 70 times 7. I believe that applies to family most of all. Please come home. We can work through this together. I'm still your mother, and I still love you. Mom." I read it 3 times. I noticed everything that was missing. Any acknowledgement of wrongdoing, any acceptance of responsibility, any recognition that helping Tyler meant stealing my life savings and forging my identity. "I'm sorry if you felt hurt" isn't an apology, it's a deflection. It puts the blame on my feelings rather than on her actions. I wrote back that same day. "Mom, thank you for reaching out. However, I cannot return to a relationship where my boundaries are not respected and my harm is minimized. You didn't just make difficult choices, you committed crimes, crimes you pleaded guilty to in a court of law. When you're ready to acknowledge that clearly, without deflection or excuses, I'm willing to have a conversation. Until then, please respect my need for space. Maya. I never received a response.
In November, Tyler reached out. His email was short, almost curt. Maya, I know I messed up. I want to make things right. Can we meet for coffee? Please, just hear me out. Against my better judgment, I agreed. I chose a busy coffee shop downtown, public and neutral, with plenty of witnesses. Tyler looked diminished when he arrived. The confident entrepreneur facade was gone, replaced by something smaller, grayer. He'd lost weight, his clothes hung on him. Dark circles shadowed his eyes. "Thanks for coming," he said quietly, wrapping his hands around a cup he didn't drink. "I know I don't deserve it." "You're right, you don't. I want to apologize, really apologize. What Mom did, what I went along with, it was wrong. I should have questioned where the money came from. I should have—" "You did question it, Tyler." My voice was flat. "And you decided the answer didn't matter because you got what you wanted. A fancy condo, a celebration, Instagram likes." He flinched. That's fair. "I didn't come here for fairness. I came to see what you actually want." A long pause. Then, quietly, "Mom's probation is making things really hard for her. She can't work certain jobs, can't travel. If you could maybe talk to the DA, ask them to reduce—" "Stop." My voice was ice. He stopped. "You didn't come here to apologize. You came here to ask me to help Mom again. After everything. Maya, she's our mother." I stood up. "She stopped being my mother when she forged my signature at 3:47 in the morning and stole my future. Goodbye, Tyler. Don't contact me again unless you're ready for an actual conversation, one that isn't about what you need from me." I left my coffee untouched on the table and walked out. November brought my first Thanksgiving without family. Aunt Rosa invited me to her house, a cozy bungalow in the Hawthorne district. When I arrived, the table was set for two. Simple, elegant, peaceful. "I hope you like turkey," she said, pulling me into a tight hug. "I made way too much, as always. Haha." Over dinner, we talked about normal things. Her garden, my work, the book club she'd joined. It felt good. Healing. Like maybe I could have holidays without drama and guilt and emotional manipulation. It wasn't until dessert, pumpkin pie with fresh whipped cream, that she brought it up. "You know, Maya, when I was your age, something similar happened to me." I looked up from my pie. "You mentioned that once, with your mother." Rosa nodded, her eyes distant. "My mother, your grandmother, opened a credit card in my name when I was 24, maxed it out buying furniture and electronics. I didn't find out until 2 years later when I applied for a car loan and was denied. My credit was destroyed." "What did you do?" "Nothing." Her voice was heavy with old regret, old shame. "I spent 9 years paying off debt that was never mine, and I never said a word, never reported it, never even confronted her." She reached across the table and squeezed my hand hard. "That's my biggest regret, Maya. Not what she did, but what I didn't do." "Rosa, what you did, standing up, filing that report, demanding accountability, that's what I should have done 40 years ago. I didn't have the courage, but you, you amazing girl, you did." I felt tears threatening. "Sometimes I wonder if I did the right thing." "You did." Her voice was fierce, certain. "Protecting yourself isn't betrayal, it's survival. And family, real family, is the people who love you enough to want you to survive whole." I squeezed her hand back, crying now. "Thank you for being real family, Aunt Rosa. Always, mija, always." 6 months after Mom's arrest, on a cold December afternoon, I signed the papers for my new house. It wasn't the original Craftsman I dreamed of. That one had sold months earlier while I was fighting to recover my stolen savings. But the house I found was perfect in its own way.
a charming cottage in the Selwood neighborhood, with a renovated kitchen, original hardwood floors, and a backyard that got beautiful afternoon sun. Perfect for the garden I'd been dreaming about for 8 years. Purchase price, $740,000. Down payment, $148,000. My recovered savings plus 6 months of additional contributions I'd managed despite everything. The closing was held on a Thursday afternoon. I sat at a conference table surrounded by real estate agents, lawyers, and mortgage officers signing document after document after document. When it was done, when the final signature was placed and the keys were handed over, I sat in my car outside the title company. And I cried. Not from sadness, not from grief, from release, from relief, from finally reaching the finish line. 8 years of saving, a devastating betrayal, a legal battle, a family shattered, and at the end of it all, a house, my house, in my name only. I drove to the property that evening. The moving truck wouldn't arrive until the weekend, so the house was empty, echoing with possibility. I walked through each room slowly, running my fingers along the walls, memorizing the spaces that were finally, entirely, irrevocably mine. The backyard was brown with winter dormancy, but I could already see it, where the flower beds would go, where I'd plant tomatoes and herbs in the spring, where I'd set up a little table for morning coffee, where I'd finally build the life I'd been working toward for so long. The doorbell rang, startling me out of my daydream. Aunt Rosa stood on my porch holding a potted rosemary plant, her eyes shining with tears. "Housewarming gift," she said, her voice breaking, "for your garden. Rosemary for remembrance, so you never forget what you survived." I pulled her into a hug so tight neither of us could breathe properly. "Welcome home, Maya," she whispered into my hair. "Welcome home." I'm writing this from the porch of my house, 10 months after moving in. The garden is thriving beyond my wildest dreams. Aunt Rosa's rosemary plant has doubled in size. The tomatoes I planted in April are producing more than I can eat, so I've started bringing extras to my neighbors, making friends, building community. I've made peace with the shape of my family now. It's smaller than it used to be, but it's honest, it's real, it's built on truth instead of obligation. Mom completed her community service. She's still on probation. From what Aunt Rosa tells me, she's aged dramatically, looks 10 years older than she did a year ago. I don't take pleasure in that, but I don't feel guilty about it either. Tyler sent 2 more emails, which I deleted without reading. I'm not interested in his excuses or his requests for help. Not anymore. I'm not angry at them anymore. Anger takes energy, and I've chosen to spend my energy on things that actually matter. My work, my home, my relationships with people who value me as more than an ATM or a safety net. But I'm also not waiting for them to change, to apologize, to suddenly develop empathy and accountability. I've accepted that they may never understand what they did. They may never take responsibility. They may spend the rest of their lives believing they were the victims. And you know what? That's okay. Because I'm not responsible for their understanding. I'm only responsible for my own integrity, my own healing, my own life. I used to believe that loving family meant sacrificing everything, my savings, my dreams, my boundaries, my future. I thought saying no was the same as saying I don't love you. I thought protecting myself was selfish. I thought loyalty meant absorbing damage with a smile. I was wrong about all of it. Real love doesn't require self-destruction. Real family doesn't exploit your loyalty. And setting boundaries isn't betrayal. It's the foundation of every healthy relationship. I don't know if Mom will ever understand that. I don't know if Tyler will ever grow into someone capable of taking real responsibility for his choices. I don't know if our family will ever heal, or if healing even means going back to how things were. But I know this: I'm not responsible for fixing them. I'm not responsible for making them comfortable with my boundaries. I'm not responsible for managing their feelings about my choices. I'm only responsible for myself, for my integrity, for my healing, for my life. And for the first time in 32 years, that life belongs entirely to me. I close my journal and look out at the sunset, turning my garden gold and red and orange. The rosemary plant waves gently in the evening breeze. The tomatoes glow like rubies in the fading light. Everything I built, everything I fought for, everything I finally claimed as mine. I chose myself. I set boundaries. I demanded accountability. I walked away from people who only valued what I could give them. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was worth every single second. If you've stayed with me through this entire story, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for witnessing my journey. If something here resonated with you, if you've been the family ATM, the reliable one, the one who always gives until there's nothing left, please know, you deserve better. Your loyalty is precious. Don't spend it on people who treat it as an obligation. If this video made you feel seen, if it gave you permission to set a boundary you've been avoiding, drop a comment and tell me about it. I read every single one. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more stories about standing your ground and reclaiming your life. And remember, choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. Until next time, protect your peace. You've earned it.